it's actually nothing more or less than a sophisticated form of database architecture. And although not everybody knows what cryptocurrencies are, pretty much everybody has come across a database at some point in their life, knowingly or unknowingly. You've benefited from the use of databases. Databases are just places where we store electronically important information that we don't want to lose for a variety of reasons. And the way that traditional database architecture works is you could think of it as some kind of centralized cylindrical thing that is owned or administrated by an entity. That entity typically invests in perimeter security, keeping the content of that cylinder safe from intrusion from the outside. And as you know, because you read about it in the newspapers every day, actually the act of keeping that perimeter security safe is actually a lot harder than it might appear. And then what we keep inside that cylinder very often is raw information, raw data, so not encrypted data, data that if you're able to breach that perimeter, you're able to get inside, you're able to look at it, you can interpret it, it's unprotected and therefore vulnerable. And every party in your typical financial ecosystem keeps their own version of these things. So that if for any reason, and there are many reasons, two parties independently need to confirm their independently recorded version of the truth, what happens is you have to compare the information in cylinder 1 with the information in cylinder 2 that belongs to someone else, which usually involves sending information between these two cylinders, formatting issues, errors, inconsistencies that leads to the need to reconcile that information, which leads to delays, which leads to expense that is needed to unwind the inconsistencies. Turns out actually the information in both cylinders is often also wrong in both places, not just one that is wrong, but often both are wrong. And so in essence, that is the nature of the process, particularly in financial services, the retention of information and storage of information related to transaction data because of the fact that there was no trustable shared infrastructure that could be mutualized amongst independent entities, was kept separately and caused to communicate via a process that leads to discrepancies and leads to enormous reconciliation burdens. Now imagine that along come these clever kids that want to transfer money over the internet, and they create an environment in which you can have a network where you can, using advances in the strength of computing power, the strength of the internet and the science of cryptography, where you can be certain of the reliability of a shared infrastructure, where instead of keeping your two separate cylinders, in my example, you can, with a clean conscience, rely on the same shared source of information that becomes a prime record or a golden source of the same information, where you can be confident that that information can't be meddled with, it can't be edited after the fact without your knowledge, and that the parties who access that have been credentialized using an identity management framework that is essentially the strongest form of security protection that the electronic world has to offer today, so the modern encryption technology. And the stuff that you keep inside this environment is encrypted information itself, so that if someone untoward does see it, it's gibberish unless you've essentially been able to hack into the codes that enable you to decrypt that information. And that, in essence, is the invention that the Bitcoin blockchain, the underlying technology, brought to us.